Hey, storytellers, dreamers, writers. Welcome to another episode of I'll Read That, the show where your stories get heard. Whether you're an unpublished author, a self published indie, or just someone with a tale to tell, this is your space to shine. In each episode, I'll read your submitted stories, giving it a voice, a platform, and most importantly, a chance to develop and grow. You'll get feedback from other writers, from your target audience, hopefully, other readers, and especially, just creatives out there to help you sharpen your story and your craft and get you to that next level. So, if you've been waiting for someone to earnestly want to read your writing, then you found your place. Submit your story, get heard, let's grow and develop together, and don't forget, like and subscribe. If you got something worth sharing, you already know. So, we're going to jump back into again in this episode Thassodar Jax, Galactic Ranger by David Jace. We are in part 3, chapter 2, Visitors from Outer Space. This is section 10. If you want to hear more of the story, check some of my older videos, but we're just going to jump into it. So, section 10. As the call connected, his house faded from around him, leaving him standing in the dais in darkness, with little lights floating around him. It always reminded him of standing in the observation deck of a space station, with nothing but inky emptiness stretching out around him. It was both humbling and familiar to him. A moment later, the darkness faded away to reveal what must be the ambassador's office on board his ship. The lighting here was quite dim, and the features sparse. The tiled floor looked like dark stone. There was no windows, no pictures. The only feature to break up the expanse of the dark gray walls was a red textured pattern embedded in them. Before him stood a tall, two-legged individual with pallid skin and small, red eyes. His forehead extended down between his eyes to his mouth in a smooth slope, with no discernible olfactory orifices. He wore a long, black, heavy leather jacket. It was buckled at the waist, but a gray, thick woven upper garment peeked from beneath and covered his chest and neck. "May I help you?" His voice was as cold as the room, and his eyes were calculating in their gaze. Thassodar felt as though the ambassador had already measured and dismissed him before he even had a chance to speak. He didn't like that feeling. "This is Ranger Thassodar Jax, Earth's subspace species protector. I have some questions about your visitor registration." "Ranger, I knew who you were before I answered the call." "Oh, of course. Well, it's customary on Earth to introduce oneself at the beginning of a conversation."
Is it? How tedious.
The ambassador sighed, as though already bored with the conversation.
What questions do you have, Ranger?
"Ah, well, mainly the fact that there's no registration." Thassodar spread his hands, demonstrating having nothing. "You seem to have forgotten to submit your paperwork." The ambassador raised a bone ridge over one of his red eyes.
Did we? I'll speak to my assistant about the oversight. Do you wish the paperwork resubmitted, or would you prefer to receive the information now?
"Well, I'd appreciate the paperwork, but you don't have to rush it if you don't mind me asking you the important questions."
You may, but there are unimportant questions. Why are they on the document?
Vassar paused a moment at that. He didn't have an answer. "I don't make the document, sir." He smiled to lighten the tone of the conversation. The ambassador's serious demeanor was making him uncomfortable. "Let's start with your name and status."
Ambassador Visu of Vendos.
"Okay." Vassar picked up the notepad that he knew was just out of reach of the projector and entered the name. "Type of craft?" He made a show of looking around the office again. "A very nice one, it seems." He smiled again.
This is a Vendosian cruiser with diplomat status.
He hesitated before continuing.
Is your hollow projection threatening to bite me, Ranger?
"Bite? Oh, that's a smile, Ambassador. It's very common on Earth, as well as many other species."
I see. I'll make a note of that. You may proceed.
It was time to get to the point. Ambassador, what is the nature of your business here on Earth?
I am exploring the potential for various import export opportunities.
Import, export? Thassodar repeated, startled. Ambassador, humans are subspace species. The Galactic Council has not cleared their planet for importing or exporting anything.
Perhaps not yet, Ranger.
The ambassador leaned forward, lowering his head, and his red eyes became more focused.
But the humans will not be a subspace species much longer. Their developing technology will soon allow them to leave their atmosphere and join us on the Galactic Council. I prefer not to wait to prepare for this time. This is a new, untapped world of resources. A fresh species on the market, as it were.
Thassodar thought that over. So you're just researching?
You could say that. Now, Ranger, if there are no more questions,
Sure, just one more thing. How long do you intend to visit? The ambassador flexed the muscles at the sides of the mouth, tightening his lips and pulling them back, revealing his black, pointed teeth.
trying to get rid of me so soon, Ranger. I plan to be here a couple weeks. Perhaps. It depends on how my research goes. End call.
The blackness enveloped him, and this time it felt cold. As his living quarters returned around him, Thassodar shook his head. That had been a rather disturbing interview. He returned to his computer and entered the information for the ambassador's registration. If he didn't hurry, he'd be late for lunch with Lomax. And that's the end of section 10. I think it's getting good. What about you guys? That's I like that. That was a fun little jaunt. Want to know what's going on here? I don't have really a lot of a lot of critique on this. I think this was actually one of my favorite sections so far. So I'm really excited to see what comes next. Uh, just remember, if you have a story, if you have something written that you want read, I want to read it. Send me your unpublished, your self-published, your poems, your short stories, your novels, anything you have to the email address in the description, and you might be featured in an upcoming episode of I'll Read That. Help me build this community, help writers, support writers, help an audience get out there to new writers, to new stories, and give everybody an opportunity to have their story heard. Don't forget, it doesn't cost you anything. Like, subscribe, drop your thoughts in there, give them your critiques, all your comments, all your love, all your hate, because your feedback could help another writer, not specifically this writer, but any writer when they read it, help them grow their craft. So remember, everybody, keep writing, and I'll read that.